Welcome back to web development with AngularJS and Bootstrap. In the last video, we looked at disabling buttons. Now we'll extend this concept by looking into form submission. First, let's examine the form directive in AngularJS. Most of this we will be familiar with as we have been using it in our validation so far. As we look down the page, we can see some useful attributes of the form directive, like the classes, which allow us to style the form element without having to declare extra ng class attributes. Here's the section we are most interested in. I'd like you at this point to pause the video and read through this section I've highlighted, as it is useful to understand this if you don't know much about how a form works in HTML. It also covers in detail the differences between a more traditional form submission and how this is normally done in AngularJS and why. In our case, we're going to use the ng-submit directive. Let's jump back to our code. First, let's add the ng-submit directive to the form. Let's make it call a function called submit when the form is submitted. We also need to make the button a submit button, so let's do that too. Now let's create this function in our JavaScript. As a side note, you will often hear this referred to as the controller, whereas the HTML is referred to as the view. These are terms that are used to describe a model view controller or MVC framework. For now, we'll get our function to display an alert on the screen when the form is submitted, like this. Great, let's test this out by trying to submit the form. It works. We can also see that the validation of the button we set up earlier prevents the form from submitting when it's invalid as well. Lastly, we want to output the form data when the form is submitted. For now, we'll just output it to the console. Let's just output the password and email in the alert for now by typing this. If we submit the form now, we can see the email and password have been outputted in the alert. As you can see, we have successfully trapped the submit event of the form and displayed the data we wanted to submit. In the next video, we'll have a look at what we are going to do with that data in submitting with Ajax.